Hello, this is Mike, NoStressMike.com. Now we're talking about morals in your concealed carry. Now, one of the things that really people find strange when I do self-defense classes is everybody's thinking that, well, you know, I'm going to teach them this and teach them that, and, you know, this kind of move and that kind of move. And it does get to that, but that's down the line. Really, the first thing and really it's the most important thing about self-defense is your morals and taking personal responsibility. And what it is, it's your attitude. So what I try to do is work on people's attitude first, and this is what really shocks everybody. And but the thing is, you have to understand. Well, some people don't. There's some people that will allow themselves to die before they hurt somebody. I've seen it in Vietnam. You know, peace, you know, like that kind of stuff. But I didn't see very many of them. Normally when the blood starts going, when you get scared, then they're willing to do something. But in self-defense, in an organized world like this, the first thing you better figure out is your moral standing and understand. For me and my spiritual beliefs, like I say, I'm not a religious guy, but I'm highly spiritual. My spiritual beliefs says my God did not put me on this earth to be fed on by bullies and aggressive people. My God gave me the responsibility to take care of myself. It's not one of these things, oh, well, God will protect me. No. My God protects me by giving me the abilities, giving me access to the tools that I need to keep myself safe. Okay. And so, if you understand that we're not a sheep waiting for the sheepdog to protect us. Once you understand that, then you can grasp the idea that, wait a minute, we have that moral responsibility to take care of ourselves. Bam! Once you understand that, then you can start looking for the how are you going to do it. Now, for me, I started with my hands. I know using my hands to protect myself. But everything has its limits. And even hands, using your hands, you know, you're only you. When you're going up against 10 or 20 people, you're going to get tired. I know this. I have done this. And so that's why you can't just look at the movies and say, I'm going to do like they do in the movies and do that. It doesn't work that way. So that's why I've incorporated weapons. I've learned how to do all kinds of handheld weapons. I say the tomahawk, staff, knives, swords. I know I've practiced and I use these. So I'm not just depending on my hands. And that falls the same thing back to firearms. Because you got to admit, a firearm is much better. I'll put it this way. You can get 6 guys that are going to beat me up with their hands, and all I need is a firearm, and it'll probably stop right there. Now, if there's 6 guys and one of them has a firearm and I don't have a firearm, your options get smaller all the time. So that's why we choose to carry a firearm is to be able to back up our moral responsibility we have to ourselves. Okay, now, that moral responsibility also will include, sometimes, will include family and family members. Sometimes that will include friends, people around you. Sometimes it includes the public. You're out in a mall. Sometimes that includes a moral responsibility you have to protect others. Why is that? Because you're the one with the firearm. Okay. Now, I'm not saying with a firearm you have that moral responsibility. I'm not saying that. But I am saying you better be thinking about your moral responsibility when you are carrying a firearm. Because now, for me, I have got the skills, I've got the experience, I've been in situations where I have to take care of the public. I have a moral responsibility to the public because of my experience and skills. That's what gives me that moral responsibility. Most of the time I would tell people, no, your moral responsibility only falls with you, because it gets really complicated when you start involving others in your morals, because your morals aren't always the same as other people's morals. I'm going to give you an example. I saw a young man and young woman walking, and they were on the other side of the street walking towards me, like it was okay, like this, but on the other side of the road. And every time I couldn't hear what they were saying, and then so the guy would walk up to the girl real quick and grab her arm, and she'd jerk her arm away, and was looking mad, and she'd go, and then they'd go and then do it again and do it again. And I'm thinking, oh man, what's my moral responsibility? Okay, I didn't see a firearm. I didn't see he had any weapons. That doesn't mean that he doesn't have one. And so I thought, oh man, and I was with my wife. My wife knew I saw this, and she knew I was going to do something. She just didn't know what I was going to do. And then so finally I started crossing the street, and then got on the sidewalk. I was walking towards him, and then what happened, she jerked away from the guy again, and then the guy stopped, and then she walked a little bit, and she turned and ran and jumped, and he caught her. And they were just play fighting is what they were doing, I guess. So it was nothing. So in other words, when you start pushing your moral responsibility on others, you may get yourself in trouble. You really have to watch out. That's why it's your moral responsibility, to me, stops with you, taking care of you. But I understand you have family. And if you're a man, you definitely have a moral responsibility. Now, does it include using a firearm? It's tough. You better have this well thought out. Because when you pull that firearm out, there's going to be other people around, like me, that's going to see you pull out that firearm. We don't know and understand the situation. If I see you pull this weapon out, and I'm just thinking about my personal responsibility taking care of me, I'll be okay. That's what happened in the convenience store. He had the firearm pointed at somebody else. Once he turned the firearm on me, that's when I shot him. That's because now it's to me. And at the time, I knew I had a moral responsibility because he had the firearm pointed at my cousin. So if my family, I have to do something. What and how? Where does my moral responsibility go? How physically am I going to stop this guy from shooting my cousin, my family? I have a moral responsibility for that. But so morals is a big thing that you really need to think about before you start concealed carry, before you start carrying a weapon. You better find out what your moral responsibility is. Take personal responsibility and then take care of it. This is one of a whole series of concealed carry. This is Mike, NoStressMike.com.